Stakeholders have identified ranching, climate change, dialogue, and community inclusion as some of the solutions to resolving conflicts between herders and farmers.
Well, the solutions were preferred at a national conference on livestock reform and mitigation of associated conflicts between herders and farmers organized by the Kano State government in Abuja. Chairman of the committee, Professor Tahiru Jega, says the primary objective of the conference is to bring together stakeholders to brainstorm on how to reform the livestock sector in the country for significant value addition to the economy. Well, the conference also deals with how to ensure that such reforms are sustainable and promote social cohesion rather than conflicts which have bedeviled the livestock production sector.
The conference is designed as an all-inclusive process to generate ideas that will contribute to addressing an acute national problem. That is, the relative underdevelopment of the Nigerian livestock sector and the perpetual crises and conflicts associated with it. As Nigeria searches for sustainable ways and the means of diversifying its economy, becoming self-sufficient in food production, as well as a major competitive exporter.
Also, the climate change shrinks the amount of arable land, which is contributing to cycles of violence and putting additional strain in relationships among farmers and herders. It is our hope that this conference will work out ways to strengthen strategies for peace between the two groups. While herders have had to change their transhumance routes, along which they move cattle from one grazing ground to another on a seasonal basis, livestock production, on the other hand, should be modernized.
And joining us now to speak on the solutions to mitigating the lingering farmer-herder clashes in the country is Professor Muhammad Yahaya Kuta, a professor of agricultural extension and development communications. Very warm welcome to Newsnight.
It's a pleasure to be here this evening. You are welcome.
Can it be said, is this coming too late, too soon, considering, the annihilations that, is followed over almost 5, 6, 7 years of herders, farmers, clashes and the attendant deaths, fatalities involved? How germane is this to resolving the entire situation?
Well, it is never too late, but once you have a practical and a pragmatic approach that we have in this circumstance, you can be assured that there is some level of hope because it has been demonstrated, and we must congratulate the governor of Kano State, His Excellency Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, for this initiative because he has demonstrated success story in Kano, and that Kano example is what we hope should be replicated in other parts of Nigeria. And we have seen good examples that have to do with domestication of policy initiatives that are geared towards addressing the challenges, especially the clashes where you have threats to human life. But he has done that with the Ruga example that was politicized after the time. But he didn't wait for anybody to allow it to affect him. Right now, there are thousands of herdsmen that are settled and they are doing well, and that he has moved from socio-cultural practice of cattle business to socio-economic advantage, whereby they are improving their production system. And indeed, you have good examples from other parts of Nigeria. Cross River State Governor is doing a wonderful job in pasture development, and some ranchers I've seen in Oyo State, they are in this conference. So the difference with this one is that all stakeholders, both practicing stakeholders in livestock industry are here. And it's from the traditional institution to the academia to all people that are involved in the livestock sector. So it's a process towards modernizing and transforming the process. And the good examples we have in Kano has been demonstrated. Those who are practicing in practical terms, they have come to discuss and engage all stakeholders here in one-on-one discussion.
Right, fantastic. But you would agree that there's no one-size-fits-all when it comes to the solutions to the herder-farmers clashes. You know, the challenges may be different in the north, you know, from the south-south or southeast, or, you know, what have you. But let's talk about some of the really practical solutions that were preferred at this conference, and how soon, how do you think they'll be implemented in the different parts of the country? Because practically every part of the country is affected by this.
Well, the good news is that this committee is to come and fashion out a blueprint that will become like the Bible of, you know, livestock industry. We have had series of programs like this, as you said before. We have participated in many national conferences, but this one we have assembled over 500 people, and they have come with fantastic input from different sectors of the interest groups, and they are providing solutions. So we're looking at articulating an implementation plan so that anybody any government, both at state and federal level, that you have reference to this material, you'll be proud that this is a practical approach to addressing the problem.
But can you let us into some of the solutions that were preferred?
Well, ranching is a critical mass, and some people have demonstrated success stories. And addressing the issue of grazing reserve that are not gazetted. For example, Niger State had about 18 grazing reserve, and majority of them were not gazetted, but have been gazetted. Now, one of them in Bobi has been transformed into an enclave where farmers and herders live side by side in peace. The news today is that from the conference, some of the children who went to school in that grazing reserve have gone to even study in universities and back to that same place and are teaching, you know, children of that community. So you can see the good examples. This conference is to provide sustainable solutions, not one short approach, not shotgun approach to solution problem solving. So we have hope that this is going to be the cornerstone and the foundation for revolutionary agriculture, livestock industry in Nigeria.
Fantastic. That's what we all want to hear, so that it will engender peace.
Peaceful coexistence.
Yeah, coexistence.
Yeah.
But tell us, are the development partners interested in Nigeria livestock industry, particularly when you look at the breed of our own cattle against the maybe Argentinian, Brazilian, South African breed?
Right.
It will amaze you that this conference is revealing success stories. Researchers from various universities that have done crossbreeding are coming with, for example, University of Nigeria, Nsukka. We have good examples of breeding that is happening where you have trypanosomiasis resistant cattle is being produced there now. So, and others in other enclaves where you have best examples why Botswana and other countries are having success stories, even shipping and exporting their products, is because of the hygienic and the scientific process of producing. So that you are sure that this meat will not cause you mad cow disease. So now we are having Sobero farms in Adamawa State, El&Z's farm in Kano, and other ranchers in Wamko, in Isei, in Oyo State, and other places that are demonstrating good example. And this conference is coming up with startling revelation. In the last 3 months, 87 billion of milk was imported into this country, according to customs.
87 billion?
Billion of milk. So how do you want our industry to work?
Would that be naira or dollar?
Naira in 3 months.
That's still a lot. That's a
and
lot.
they're not paying any tax.
So what do you think government should be doing to reverse that?
This conference is coming with a policy initiative to advise government that they must charge them certain percentage for bringing this product, and they're advising government that they must have certain percentage of local content, because the milk we produce by these people should be integrated into the final product of what we have. Nigerians consume a lot of milk. We can produce it here.
Yes, let's talk about one of the products itself, the main products, beef. And is this conference, for example, going to come up with a resuscitation of the Bauchi meat factory? That was a multi-million meat factory during the Tafawa Balewa, during the Saldana of Sokoto's regime. It was also resuscitated again. Then we used to see the railways
actually
transporting meat from Gombe, you know, Bauchi to Lagos. Are we going to see such again?
Look, it's because there is no access to public information about what is happening. This conference is going to reveal the possibilities, the challenges, and the solutions. As I told you, if we can get government to sanction anybody importing these things without commensurate tax, is going to be sanctioned, and that they should allow certain percentage local content.
Right.
And that we have a local content policy in this country. So it should also go to that sector. Believe me sincerely, we have the capacity and the opportunity to transform that industry that it would be greater than oil.
We can't wait for that to happen. Professor Mohammed Yahaya Kuta is, of course, the Professor Agricultural Extension and Development Communication. Thank you very much for joining
Extension
us.
will do the business and transforming the information for all of it.
We want to be part of it. You can still sit down. Don't be in a hurry to go, right?
Thank you.